Look at this pug mug. Hi, I'm Sandy Rodriguez, and welcome to another video on my channel, Self Again. Look at this. I got a hat that says Bah Humbug, and here's my mug saying, thanks for stopping by. And if you like this video or any other video, that you should go back and see what's else is on the channel. Give it a thumbs up, please. Subscribe and click the bell for notifications. That's every channel says that, so you know what they're gonna say. Today my beverage of choice is, here's another pug mug, a French toast cafe au lait. I did cafe au lait today because I'm out of espresso beans. I usually start my day with an espresso con panna, which means espresso with whipped cream on top. Cafe au lait is half brewed coffee, half steamed milk, syrup or not. That's a cafe au lait. I can't remember if in French if that means coffee with milk. You'd think I would know it. I'm obsessed with coffee and caffeine. Not really caffeine. Anyway, my love of coffee was a huge change after the brain injury. But I'm a TBI survivor. And with that, I woke up and had retrograde amnesia of the severest kind. I didn't know anything. By the time I got home, I started to know stuff. But I got flashbacks and more puzzle pieces all the time. So I want to expire. Actually, not expire. I'm not having trouble finding words. I'm just, the wrong words are popping out. So another issue of my language disorder because of TBI. So I want to talk about today is that before I forget again, if you want to read about my story, if you're interested, say, hey, what's about this? My link to my story is down in the comments, selfagain.org or .net. I'll put it in the description so you know the right address to go to. It's got all the stuff, my background, everything like that. But so I'm on a couple brain injury boards on Facebook. And I have seen from various times people ask, how do you get to be the old you? I hate the new me and everything like that. So I thought I would share my experience of what I did, and that may help or piss you off. I don't know. I hope it doesn't make you angry, because that's a lot of hurt you're dealing with, and I understand that. I've been through it myself. So after I was home from I almost said library, hospital, and I was going through outpatient therapy. I had to ask my mom because I didn't remember stuff about my past. I still don't remember myself. That's a talk for another video. But she said, just here's some boxes, go through stuff. And I went through stuff, and it made me cry a lot and throw books and stuff against the wall or against my bed or whatever was in my room at the time. And, I don't remember this, and it made me very angry. So once I went through all the therapy I needed to stop going to therapy full time, I saw my own counselor, my own talk therapist, and I understood how to continue that at home. So when I felt brave enough, after reading all the poetry and laughing and crying, and then saying, I'm going to try to write and see if I write and like to write poetry. I love writing. I did. I took it a step further past poetry and just writing children's stories. And so I said, there are some safe places I can go to see if I remember anything or how I feel about them now. the first thing that popped in my mind was go to Henry Ford Community College in Dearborn, Michigan. That's where I got all my schooling from before Eastern. Go in the dance studio and see how it feels. Now, Diane Mancinelli, who was the head of the dance department, they no longer have it. Shame on them. We were friends, known each other, and I was a student for hers, with her for more than 15 years. And so I said, Diane, can I come and sit and watch one of your classes? And I explained to her, I'm trying to see how this feels, and she understood. She's a mom, so she's a little protective of me, and she's like, are you okay, or can you do this? I went in the studio, and I was fucking horrified. Okay, I went there, I had to leave right away because even though I don't have any memories of it yet, I still have programs from dance shows. I have videotapes. I hadn't watched a dance concert yet. And the fact is my instinct told me that this was one of my first loves. Next to breathing was dance. And even though my mom said you never talked about what you wanted to do as a career or anything like that, but I had, and you had a good feeling, and so did Joe, my stepfather, had a good feeling it was going to be involved with dance and choreography. And well, they were right. Because after I came to terms with how deep that hurt, because it's a part of me ripped away, it got taken away with nobody's permission. Nobody's consent. This was not my consent. And the most frustrating is there's no one to get mad at and send that anger to, because I was in a car accident and it was just an accident. I'll talk about how I came to terms with that in a much longer video, another video by itself. But that was a safe place for me to go. And if I was by myself, I could cry. I would even cry if her students were there. And she talked about me a lot, so some of her students knew who I was. And some of them I worked with before the accident, so they really knew who I was. And they were like, oh, Sandy's back to choreograph. And I'm like, oh, I hope so. And by the time I got in the accident and was back to being able to drive myself and be okay in public independently, was about a year and a half. So it wasn't like I was gone for years and this was like one of those movies that, oh my God, you're back and it's been years. So anyways, it hadn't been long. Actually, no, the dance studio, the first time I went to the dance studio was only 8 months after. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what a year and a half, I don't know why a year and a half stuck in my head. So I went there and, and I tried to move and do some dance, what flashed back in my head. So some of it came back without me going, oh my, that's a memory. And that would be muscle memory, okay? And muscle memory is your muscles, when you've done something before and you attempt to do it again, it does it without even telling your brain, hey, you up there, yeah, we're doing this. And that's, with dance and stuff like that, that was like scary good. I was like, oh my God, what did I just do? Diane, oh my God. She'd be like, oh my God, Sandy, did you remember doing that before? No, I just did it. And we had this, celebratory thing. So, I will talk about my dance in another video. You knew I was going to say that, but I'm telling you about this kind of stuff when I say in another video in the future. This means that, oh, I want to hear more about that, which means you'll get it if you're listening to this. The other place I felt really safe was the theater at Henry Ford Community College. It's now Henry Ford College. They made themselves a university, and I guess the campus is bigger. I haven't been there. So when I was in the hospital, a friend slash teacher slash mentor slash icon of theater in Southeast Michigan. George Popovich was the head of the theater then. And he came, and Diane came as well to the hospital many times to see how I was doing, to see how my family was doing, to give support. And when I asked him, he said, Sandy, that was really weird. You know, I have kids myself, and I'm looking at you and say, whoa. She's, anyways, so I was about to go back to school at Henry Ford because at the time of my accident, I only had 4 credits to graduate there with a associate's degree. So I said, I'm going to take some classes I know I'm going to get through. Theater. And I think I took one class about public relations or media relations or something. I don't remember. Short-term recall, kind of a challenging thing now. So I talked to George. He's like, hey, ask me questions and just, come to one of my classes and sit and watch. So I went to the theater and I walked around the stage and or the audience and stuff. And then I walked on stage and I walked in the back to see where people would do like in the I don't know what to call it, in the backstage props area, workshop kind of stuff. All I could do again was walk around and cry because I did some magnificent things on the stage and behind stage and I had no memory of them. So I'm standing on stage going, I'm a fucking stranger to myself. I still am, but I meant that as an emotion. I'm sorry if I'm yelling, I'm getting excited. I hope the sound isn't too loud. Woman, you're challenging you're going to make me anyways. So even though that I knew that was going to be a hard thing to do, it was still a safe space because it was familiar to me, not because at that time that I had any memories, but it just had that familiar because I knew what I had done there, stories told and like I said, programs and notes read and, cards and flowers I kept. I'm so glad I kept all that. So think of something that you did in your past that was something you were really good at. And it's good. Please, the most important thing is please don't beat yourself up. I know that you probably will because we all do without having any neurological or cognitive disorder functions. But it's worse because, many of you remember your past. Most of it. So number one thing that's going to be the hardest is don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself first. In anything you do, you put yourself first and you're the most important, and be kind to that person, you. But find something that you were good at, even if it was something very small. Like, I don't know, yard work. Something and somewhere where you feel safe. Even if it's somewhere public, be brave enough to do that. Don't listen to anybody else. Don't listen to anyone saying boo to you about blah, blah, blah. Don't tell anybody. Do it for yourself. Make sure you're safe and it's somewhere where you're not going to get hurt or somebody's not going to come up to you, or take someone, if it's something you like to do public and you're not sure how anyone else around you will be, take someone you really trust and have them sit at a distance and watch. Talk to somebody about this. Talk to your therapist and see what they say. But even if it's something, writing a poem to yourself, do something you feel safe and wonderful about, because you are wonderful and fucking you're a badass. Look at what you've survived and been through. So thanks for stopping by. Have a great day and carpe diem.